Is Jeff Gordon a Mickey Mouse driver? No. Do you know the crafting of oak stairs? Yes. Will you win the Gamer Championship? I did. Question 4. What do you think about the state of NASCAR? Okay, so I'll give an answer for this one. Um, I suppose they're trying to fix things, but in my opinion, it's a lot all at once, and some things are bad, some things are really bad, and some things are good, but uh, the bad stuff, like I said, really bad. So and also they don't plan on changing the bad stuff they introduced years ago anytime soon, aka the playoffs. But at this point, it's a lost cause trying to get it changed because there's really no point. They're not going to change it. Next question. What is the next scheme versus scheme? After 2005 2, we're going to do one for the NSDCA mock, and that one's going to be pretty fun. But I don't know when the 2005 2 mock is going to end. Probably pretty soon because there's like 10 races left. Is Bingus better than Wabungus? They are equal. What do you think about Tony Stewart? I wasn't really a fan of Stewart much in like the Stewart era, but it seems like he was a great driver, probably one of the best like race car drivers of all time. And he should be placed up there with the greats of NASCAR, the greats of the racing world, but still not better than Jeff Gordon though. Let's see. Oh, there's that again. Why do you like Robert B. Hour's team? Okay, I honestly don't know because I think one random week I just looked up at the ticker and saw the O2 with Brett Moffitt in the top 10 or so, and I decided to root for the team. And the next week they were up there again, and they were really consistent for a team I hadn't heard about before, and it's really been the first team in NASCAR I've seen grow essentially from the ground up, from getting sponsors and by expanding to a multi-car team. And I've loved watching their journey so far. And I know the GMS deal is part of that, but um, it it's still a pretty big underdog team in my opinion. Next up, what is better, In-N-Out or Whataburger? All right, so Whataburger, it has its own character, and it's like iconic down in Texas, so I see why the Texans love it. But you got a you got a Californian talking right now, so In-N-Out still better, and I think I'll probably be going to one of like the two or three In-N-Outs in Texas because they do have them. Do you hate the push it forward movement? I don't support it, and I'm gonna miss the door numbers, but it is still a way better option than sliding it backwards. I think we dodged a major bullet there. What is the dream car? Well, I don't really know much about cars, and from what I've heard, Dodge is kind of unreliable, and I'm gonna get fired from TSR for saying that. But I gotta redeem myself here. It's actually a newer Dodge Charger. I really like how these things look, but like I said, I don't really know anything else about cars. I just know they look cool. So, like if you ask me like what makes a car like actually good, I don't know. Favorite NASCAR race. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is the 2020 Geico 500, and it'll probably stay my favorite NASCAR race for a long time. There was action all day. I don't remember a point in the race where they went single file, and there were tons of close calls, and a threat of rain on top of it all kept everyone anxious, and there was no big one. So the pack was all together for the entire day, and the finish has to be one of the most underrated in NASCAR history. More on that later. Dream NASCAR race. My dream NASCAR race would definitely be a trip to Talladega, since super speedway racing would be amazing to see in person. Since I'm already hooked seeing it on TV. Favorite NASCAR scheme in the past 10 years. That would be the Joey Logano Auto Club car, and to be honest, I don't even know why I like this one. It just looks striking and bright, and the Auto Club as my home track, and the insurance company being so local makes the red, white, and blue like symbolic to me. So whenever I got into a car in NR 2003 to do whatever I felt like doing while driving, the Auto Club 22 would always be the one I picked. So that is my favorite NASCAR paint scheme in the past 10 years. And what are my playoff predictions? Well, if I was actually reliable in getting videos out in a timely manner, then I'll probably have picked Kyle Busch to win the title or something like that, because a Larson championship just seemed a bit too good to be true. But of course, I'm really glad he won it. So yeah. And then Lime also asked, what do you think about the Auto Club short track? I don't even know if I have it on there. No, I don't. Um, Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sad that it won't be my home track in a little bit. But if they don't get it done by 2023, I'm still gonna be going to the races there. I feel like the racing product would be unique, and the atmosphere will be great, and somewhat surreal in my opinion. But the only concern I have is the effect that'll have on the drivers with exhaustion. You see how drivers get exhausted at Martinsville, Bristol. Those are tough tracks, and they're combining these two tracks to be into one. So I think that'll be the only concern I have um about the Auto Club short track. And then also, do you like Seaballer? Yeah, but uh it is unfortunate that there are no Carloses in the new world, in the new server. All right, so up next, Aiden. Question: Bingus. Answer: Yeah, man. Honestly, you took the words right out of my mouth. Next up, pineapple on pizza. I'm completely fine with it. I'm not gonna like throw a fit or anything because someone has pineapple on pizza. Oh, you have pineapple on pizza. No, like go ahead. It's it's not like my preferred topping, I want to say. But like if someone shows up with the Domino's pineapple pizza, then I'll eat it because it's Domino's and it's fine. Pineapple and pizza it's pretty good. It's nothing to get that worked up for because it's just people's personal preference. I don't know why it is a felony to add pineapple on pizza to some people. All right, next up, Mitchell. Favorite baseball team? I don't really base too many balls, but I kind of get the gist of the sport. And the Padres are essentially my home teams, and so me and my family root for them when we do watch football, the rare occasion. Question two, snow or rain? We do not get either of those in California, so I don't know. I say that as it's raining outside right now, but it's once again rare. And next up, question three, Joe or Carter? Uh, Spurley. Next up, rank every single person in the Joe Rutt server. Alright, well, we'd have a 10-hour video on our hands if I were to do that, but I will give a top 5. member rank. So at number 5 we have Vale White Tea. Number 4 we have Valentin White Tea. Number 3, you gotta know this one, Vale Official. He is number 3. Number 2, you have Vale YouTuber. Come on, number 2, yeah. He's got to be on the top 5 somewhere. But unfortunately, he comes runner-up to your number 1, Spurley. And now, okay, when are the gamer boys and me getting back together to do stuff in VC from Rose? Here we have the problem with me responding to 2-month-old questions. I feel like I've picked up the pace with game nights and VCs and stuff, like painting streams and our NSDCA car set streams. I picked up the pace with mock as well. But it would be cool if we were to get back on Roblox, perhaps, if that's something that people are willing to do. Next up from Eli Bright, what got you into NASCAR? I know my dad had been off and on with NASCAR at the time, but I remember watching the Aaron's 499 from 2009, from start to finish as my first NASCAR race, uh, on the living room TV and enjoying it as a kid, despite Jeff Gordon wrecking out pretty much as soon as I figured out he was going to be my favorite driver. In fact, Jimmy Johnson was my dad's favorite driver, and he wrecked out. My mom's favorite driver was Carl Edwards, and I think we all know how that went. So I'm sure I can say that that was the day that I got into NASCAR. That race got me hooked. Next up, JJ. Who is your favorite YouTuber? I've got I've got quite a lot for this. Okay, in no particular order, Jack's Films, who I've been watching since around 2018. And what got me watching him was the how to basic face reveal video, believe it or not, where he looked like a really clean, family friendly YouTuber. He just that's just kind of the vibe he gave off. That's how he sounded. That's how he sounded. And but then when I watched one of his videos, which was the Fix Your Flags video, I remember I remember laughing out loud a pretty good amount of times, and I've been a fan ever since. So and right now I want to say is a good time to be a fan. And no, not just because I got on Yai recently, but because he's adopted a new style of making videos, and you can clearly tell that he's enjoying it a lot more than he had been a year ago. He's been doing these videos blind, so he'd get a mod team to submit stuff from the comments for him, and then he'll read it without having any prior knowledge. When in the past he picked the comments and he read them. So you can tell he's having a much better time, and I think overall the content is better uh, from this new style of video. All right, the second out of the three YouTubers that I picked is Scott the Waz, and the reason why I enjoy his content so much is simply because there's no one quite like him on YouTube. Yeah, there's tons more video game reviewers on YouTube, but the fast-paced and dry but yet wacky humor is something that not many on the platform can replicate without coming up short or making it look blatantly obvious. And of course, on top of it all, he reviews games, and well, I like that. And it's relatable, even though he is way more into gaming than I am. So that's Scott the Waz, and third I've got Jimmy here, who I've started watching recently, and the content is not really anything that strays from the norm. In fact, he's probably could be considered just another reaction YouTuber, but his organized schedule and the fact that the humor that his viewers submit make me look forward to every Wednesday where I can watch along and try to avoid laughing with him is something that I've enjoyed watching for the past, I want to say, half a year now. I want to say I started watching around June, and I've been watching him ever since. And still look forward every Wednesday. A Laugh You Lose is gonna come out. So those are the YouTubers. Next up, if you could go to any NASCAR track, what would it be? That would be Talladega once again. Have you ever played any of the Sims games? This is gonna sound like a joke, but the only Sims game I played, and I'm being completely real here, is The Sims 2 for the Game Boy Advance. And I don't really remember much about it other than it being your usual Game Boy Advance port that is nothing like the originals. Since I've seen stuff about The Sims before, but I haven't really played one of the actual games. The Sims 2 for the Game Boy Advance. That is the only it's the only Sims game I played. Question 4, what is your scariest childhood memory? I don't really think I've experienced anything that traumatizing as a child, so I'm gonna go ahead and mention that time where my friend went to findminecraft.com, which was a jump scare website at the time, and I ran upstairs and didn't come down for a little bit. In fact, one of the things I was most scared of, and this is gonna sound weird, was as a child, I thought walking into any room, like any quiet room alone with the TV turned off, would would um would cause a jump scare, right, on the on the TV. So it would just supernaturally turn on and play a jump scare while I was alone in the room and it was all quiet. And of course that never happened, but it was something I was afraid of when I was like 6 years old. Question 5, who is your dream NASCAR broadcast booth? My dream broadcast booth, this is gonna be cheating, but it would probably be the Fox booth from 2016 to 2019 with Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, and Jeff Gordon. For Mike Joy, I just like his commentary style and his voice. It's just he gives off a a very big sports commentator vibe. DW's one-liners always kept me entertained, and Jeff Gordon is my favorite driver, and it was always nice to know that he was still right there and involved in the sport with TV, as opposed to drivers that you don't really hear much often from anymore, like Tony Stewart or Carl Edwards. Uh, Tony Stewart, of course, aside from SRX, but I know that particular combination was pretty unpopular though, so if I absolutely needed to, I would swap out Gordon with McReynolds since it's basically the same booth but with a lot more chemistry between the lead commentators. So that's if I were to have any booth back in NASCAR, it would be that. Um Question 6, have you ever considered being a race car driver, at least be dreamed of being one? Uh, from about age 5 to 10, I thought becoming a NASCAR driver was possible, but of course, I didn't have a notable last name or a small track in my area uh that I would go to. So it was more like that would be cool situation rather than an actual dream to become a NASCAR driver. Question 7. Who is your pick to win the Cup Series championship? Question 8. Do you have a celebrity crush? If so, who? For the sake of the video, I will say Emma Watson, but I guess there's one person that I've been crushing on quite a bit lately that's somewhat obscure, and I don't even know if they can be considered a celebrity or not, but I'm gonna reveal that on the Discord and not on YouTube. So sorry, non-Gamer League Tube watchers, you're stuck with the vanilla answer. Question 9, what is your favorite meme? Um, I don't really have one. I don't really have a favorite meme of all time. But that guy who said measure your milk tonight plus ratio, kind of funny. And question 10, how many game consoles do you own? So in order of getting them, I have the DS Lite, the DSi, the Wii, the Xbox 360, the 2DS, the Wii U, and the Switch, making that 7 consoles. As you can see, I'm a Nintendo loyalist beside the Xbox 360, which I quietly got from my grandmother as a gift, I think. I'm not one of those hardcore supporters who will blindly support Nintendo in everything they do, as they've done some really shicey things in the past, but I'm simply a fan because I don't think I could really get behind any of the non-NASCAR Xbox or PlayStation games, as that would be the only reason I would buy one of those consoles. But that situation has been solved due to the release of NASCAR Heat Ultimate Edition Plus and Knuckles new funky mode. So honestly, I see no reason to buy those consoles anymore. Alright, next up from Geese Soap. Dream travel location. Alright, well, Talladega, Alabama again, yeah, but disregarding NASCAR here for this question, for the sake of the question, um, I don't really know, to be honest. It would be cool to travel somewhere relaxing like Hawaii or somewhere busy like Tokyo or New York City. Both are experiences like I'd like to have one way or another, though, in some point in life. Uh, question 2, do you want kids? Yes. Question 3, dream job. I know it's basic at this point in the NASCAR community, but I'm gonna go with being a graphic designer. Maybe for NASCAR, maybe not. But judging how much I enjoy art and like stuff like graphics and logos and design in general, I think that occupation is probably the one I'm most fit for. Question 4, why Coors Light? This one I actually wound up forgetting for a good amount of time, but I got a physical copy of NR 2003 on Christmas 2016, and at that point we would always go to my grandparents' house on Christmas and stay there for a few days. Well, 2016 was the year my grandfather passed away, and I'm pretty sure I just looked around the house for a cool sponsor idea for my new series, for my first NR series that I'd be running on the full game of NR 2003, the full copy, because I just used the demo up to this point for the Android Cup series, and there was so much Coors Light memorabilia all over the place, since I'm pretty sure that and Blue Ribbon were my grandfather's favorite beers. So the Coors Light Pro Series came to existence, and it's been my sponsor pretty much everywhere since then. Question 5. Do you like electric cars? Cars aren't really something I'm really passionate about. I know it's weird being a NASCAR fan, not being uh, that much into cars. I don't really know much. Uh, and in fact, I don't really see the appeal of driving at an early age at all. So I'm not really sure. Maybe it would be convenient to own one, or maybe not. Who knows? I don't really see a point to go on like a research expedition about it, since I know my first car is going to be a gas-driven one that's a hand-me-down. Question 6. What toothpaste do you use? Right now I'm using a prescription toothpaste from my dentist, but when I'm not using that, I'm using Colgate. Question 7, how were your cats named? Jeffrey was kind of neglected by our next door neighbors. So we ended up taking care of him, and his name was Jeffrey with a J, like Jeff, like Jeff Gordon, and not Jeff Bodine. Uh, but I think all the neighbors' children and pet names start with a J. So, so we wanted to change that. But the Jeffrey name stuck, so we just went with that and the other spelling. So, yeah. Kona, on the other hand, was named because my parents had just gotten back from Hawaii when we got Kona, and one of the islands they went to was Kona, so that's the name they picked. Question 8, are you having a moment? 24/7. Question 9, what is your favorite part about California? I'm gonna go with the weather since I'm a person who doesn't really mind heat too much, and the coldest has gotten around here has to be in the low 20s, and that doesn't even happen. It doesn't even happen too often. Because so it usually be 40 in the mornings, which I can dress for, so it's not that big of a bother. Only problem being my hands are a little sensitive, I guess, to the cold, and they turn blue and start to hurt when it gets too cold. But that goes away after a few hours anyways. But I didn't really think of this before, but sometimes there will be, I kid you not, a 40-degree increase in temperature from like 7:30 to whenever I get out of school, 2:30, right? And I am I am kind of salty about that one because I come to school with pants, a long sleeve t-shirt, and a jacket, and then it's hot in the afternoon. So, like, you can dress for the heat and you can dress for the cold, but when it's both in one day, that's the part of California that frustrates me. But I'm pretty sure it's that way everywhere else, and plus, Lime will probably come. I was gonna say to my house, knock on my door, and say I'm built different, but he'll probably put a comment down below and all like I'm built different because he can wear shorts and a t-shirt, to which I respond, get out of here, get out of here. Okay, so next up, why don't you use the dishwasher anymore? We just use our hands now, I guess, to wash the dishes. And even when I recorded that stupid ass video in 2015 of the dishwasher draining, it was only fascinating because we rarely even used a dishwasher, and even then, I don't even think I've ever seen the water coming out of that spout thing before. So I just decided to record it because I was bored. Question 11. What are your favorite smells? I don't really have too many favorite smells. I mean, uh, what, gasoline is fine, I guess, but like, um, I can tell you least favorite smell, uh, would be inside of a car. Actually, a good smell is like maybe a nice scented candle or some good food. Like the smell of good food as it's like steaming on the table before you eat it, that's nice. But least favorite smell is the inside of a car. I I just don't like it. And sometimes when I'm in a car for so long, the smell will linger for some reason. Like for a good amount of time, I'll still be smelling it even after I get out of the car. And I don't even know if it's like my clothes adapting to scent or my brain just hallucinating and think it's still in the car. But it usually makes me nauseous, and that's never fun. Next up, LK is 8 or LK Emma, the latter. Question 13, did OJ do it? Maybe, I don't know. And question 14, favorite holiday. Another basic vanilla answer for this one. Christmas is my favorite holiday. I know, I know, and it's probably, especially since December is already packed with stuff like New York's, yes, New Year's and my birthday anyways. And in fact, I'm not even sure if I like Christmas itself as a holiday as much as I like the general build up in December uh to Christmas with the music and the lights and the decorations everywhere and such and the atmosphere. But I'm not a fan of starting those traditions early. That's a no-go. But yes, favorite holiday, Christmas. All right, Evan. Worst NASCAR driver of all time. Ray Black Jr. always brought out at least one caution per race from 2015 to 2017, and I don't even know why he's in the sport in the first place, to be honest. When did you join the NASCAR community? NASCAR, NASCAR, NASCAR. Well, I guess you could say I did my first community thing, if you will, by signing up for the SCRL, where I was introduced to Blaze, and then I signed up for Joe's not long afterwards. And then I started watching TJ streams, where I got to meet people involved in those leagues. And then I signed up for Carter's first series, and then he introduced me to Hangouts, the whole Hangouts gang, and the rest is history. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this, but the first NR league I tried signing up for, and it never happened. It was called the NR 2003 Samsung Cup Series, and it would use Microsoft Sam as the commentator voice. But it never happened, and the last thing that um that person posted was something dumb like uh I don't even know. I'm gonna forget the name, but it was something weird. I'll find it eventually. Alright, next up, best Pringle flavor. That would be barbecue. I've just been a fan of barbecue chips as a whole, and the barbecue Pringles are pretty good. I've actually been getting into Pringles a bit more recently. It's it's probably because they have like some sort of unique taste compared to all the other chips. So there's the best Pringle flavor. Next up, when is the next episode of Gamer Gaming going to be released? Okay, well, the next one is gonna be the Agario video, and even though I recorded it in May and still haven't gotten to editing it completely since I've been doing other Burly 2 projects with, such as, um, the NSDCA music video I just put out recently. Um, And also, the other situation is that my computer is going to be full, so I'm going to have to work that out since I want to post gamer videos on SpurlyTube, even past the 2021 10-year anniversary deal. Because honestly, I don't really care that it'll be 2022. It's still nice that I've been YouTubing for over 10 years, and we're still gonna celebrate that with the videos. Alright, next up, and I think I forgot one in here. Does Jeff have one tennis ball or multiple? I don't know if that'll come up later, but he's got a couple, and he's also got a big cotton ball that he plays with that we got as a white elephant gift that served as an inside snowball fight. So, yeah, that's where he got that. And where would you consider living besides Texas? Probably somewhere in the NASCAR track range, also known as like North Carolina, Virginia, etc. So that way I've got a lot of options if I want to go to the races. Alright, what is the greatest NASCAR moment to you that is not considered the greatest to other people? I got a lot for this one. Oh boy. Okay. The 2020 Geico 500 finish is so unbelievable, and it's crazy that no one really recognizes it other than, wow, that was cool. I mean, seriously, when you take a closer look at this finish specifically, it's got to be one of the greatest NASCAR finishes of all time. Because coming off of turn four, think about it. Like, listen to this. Blaney had just gotten the lead, and he obviously doesn't want to lose, but he's got a very hungry pack behind him, led by Eric Jones, who jumps high, jumps low, and then jumps back high again. For a moment, you're thinking it's going to be another classic beating and banging Talladega finish for the win, but then John Hunter Nemechek, JHN, plays spoiler, and just when the 20 and 12 collide, the 38 just so happens to be on a spot on the outside that would hook the 20 to the wall, so they're both out of it. But it's still not smooth sailing for Blaney yet, as Almirola suddenly comes out of nowhere with a head of steam, but then he gets spun out by Stenhouse, who emerges out of nowhere, and he gets second, and Blaney still ends up winning despite everyone who came close as they did, throwing everything they had at the leader within 10 seconds of reaching the finish line and failing. And even then, Blaney won the race by just 7 hundredths of a second, causing a shocking mirror of the previous Talladega race. The only thing that can rival this finish in terms of sheer insanity happening in such a short amount of time has to be the 2021 Bristol finish. And all that happened there, both finishes left me speechless, but I'm gonna have to give the nod to Talladega here. Alright, next up, who are you? I am living in your walls. Okay, for real, what is the driver you disliked in the past but you now like? And vice versa, aka what driver you really liked in the past but now you don't like? This one's easy to answer now that the season's over, but I disliked Tyler Reddick after his 2018 title and Daniel Hemrick before his win, and now Tyler Reddick is one of my favorite drivers and I don't really mind Hemrick that much anymore. So there's that answer. And vice versa, I was a big Matt DiBenedetto fan, but that's become a lot more difficult since he decided one day that he was going to run his mouth and then immediately hide afterwards. So, next up, we have a Reeve, who asked, how do you adrenaline? And to be honest, I don't know. I really don't. I really don't. Next up, how long have you been a NASCAR fan? Since the 2009 Aaron's 499. How long have you been a Kyle Larson fan? Since the 2017 Daytona 500, I think. Who was your favorite NASCAR driver before Kyle Larson? That would be Jeff Gordon. Favorite food? I always enjoy a good hamburger with fries, especially from In-N-Out. But if we're including desserts in this favorite food question category thing, Cold Stone has like the most goated ice cream on the planet, and one of the signature creations just might be the greatest things I've had to eat. I'm an established Reese's enjoyer, and this place sells a cup of chocolate ice cream with peanut butter, fudge, and Reese's cups mixed in, and it is so good. I recommend trying it if you ever go to Cold Stone. And number 5, how many staples does the Big Staple have in his Staples store?
10.
Is there any chances that I could win the Mickey Mouse Championship? Lol. Alright, so I know the video asking for the questions happened around the season 5 finale, which Evan was crowned the champion. But if I'm being honest, Cookie, you really deserve a BBR title. You're one of the few people who have been competitive basically every season of competition, and I think a championship is long overdue, in my opinion. So I'll be rooting for you next season. And then one more, and that is, which NASCAR gaming activities do you enjoy the most? Online or offline? This one has definitely changed over time. I still enjoy offline activities, definitely, as it's what got me into the community, but I feel like I've moved away a bit from mocks and NR 2003 offline leagues, both running them and being in them, with a few exceptions, and moved over to row racing, and I honestly like that a bit better now, as I I know it can get a bit infuriating at times, and I feel like it's allowed myself, though, uh, an opportunity to get a lot closer with the people in the community, and it's gotten me to talk with people a lot more and value time with them instead of just texting them. But I'll always run mock sometimes and be in the NSDCA for the time being, so that isn't gonna change anytime soon, especially since the uptick in mock and the new project. So that is the Q&A video. Sorry it is very late. But yeah, that'll do it. Bye.